Thanks for joining us today on HXGN TV. I'm your host, Neville Judd, and today we're discussing MineSight 3D, one of the most popular and enduring solutions in the Hexagon mining mine planning suite. Joining me is Product Manager Seth Gering. Seth, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Nev. Good to be here.
So Seth, MineSight has been around a long time. Give us a quick history lesson as to where it started.
Sure. MineSight's been around for over 40 years. It was started by a guy, Fred Banfield, and I think it was started actually in his garage. He was keenly interested in bringing together computer science and mining. This is something that at that time period nobody was doing, or very few people were actually looking at, trying to solve some mining problems with computers. And the initial success was very positive, and the company's continued to grow over many years.
So MineSight solutions now are used in literally hundreds of mines around the world, have been for many years. How do you explain its enduring popularity?
That's a good question. For me personally, I think the tools that we have are very modular. They're very easy to use, and they solve the problems. So when you go to a mine, they have a lot of challenges, lots of things going on, big trucks moving around, lots of equipment, tight deadlines. In MineSight, the way the MineSight tools are set up is that we can break those problems down into small, discrete components and then use those pieces to put together a workflow that solves complex problems. And that's one of the things that makes MineSight very popular and very easy to use. The other thing is that over the past 40 years, we spent a lot of time listening to our clients. We spend lots of time understanding the client problems and the challenges that they're seeing, and then coming up with tools and new solutions that help them solve those problems.
And where does MineSight 3D fit into that solution suite?
That's a good question. So MineSight 3D is our visualizer. So we have a lot of different tools for doing all sorts of tasks, such as drilling and blasting, loading and hauling, scheduling, lots of different tools in the mine. And all of those are centralized around MineSight 3D. It's our main interface to the program. So MineSight 3D has some core functionality, such as some CAD analysis tools. It's also the central location where we can visualize our information in 3D. But it also has a lot of external applications. Going back to that modular approach that I mentioned, we can use other tools to execute functions for, like say, drilling and blasting or loading and hauling, but all of that information can be visualized in one central interface, and that's where MineSight 3D fits into the picture.
Right. What are some of the commonly overlooked features of MineSight 3D that you think people might not know about?
That's a good one. One I would say probably the most uncommon feature that people have to look for is the hidden line algorithm, which is very appropriately named. So that one is a visualization that lets you, when you create two solids, it builds wireframes. And so if those solids intersect, you have a mess when you're trying to visualize those two solids, because those wireframes are intersecting and it's hard to make out where the start and end of those two solids are. So the hidden line algorithm lets you mask that, so you don't see that interference, those extra lines in there. You just see the two solids on the outside. So that's one of the ones that people don't see very often, but is also very powerful. The other one it's becoming more common or more popular to look at is the X viewer. So a couple years ago, we made a decision to redo our entire viewer in MineSight 3D to make it more powerful, faster. People have information now, like point clouds and millions of blast holes and multiple block models that they want to see. And in some cases even time series information that they want to see in MineSight. So all of this information needs to be in a visualizer that's really strong and really powerful. So the X viewer is that tool, and it allows us to have a lot of flexibility that we didn't have in the past. So that's another one that's new. And the third one I would say that is commonly overlooked is a lot of our functions in Compass. And so those routines that we've built up over 40 years for geologic modeling, they're good tools, but they're sometimes hard to find. Now with our new tool Logic, I think that's going to improve upon that a lot. We're able to search for and find tools much easier. So we've now, I think what that's going to do is allow our users to solve problems quicker. We're gonna be able to find a solution a lot faster and be able to use those tools that were maybe not so easy to use in the past, much easier now with a new tool like Logic that helps you put that information into a workflow.
Right. Share some of the feedback that you get from customers about MineSight 3D.
That's good. So the feedback we get is generally positive. So one of the nice things about MineSight is that it's used by mines all over the world. So we can go, and lots of different types of mines. So one of the things that I like the most about my job is that I get to go and travel to some remote location and sit down with somebody who's trying to solve a really complex problem using our software. And so that kind of interaction that we have with clients that way is something it's very positive.
Great. What are some of the training opportunities available for people getting to grips with MineSight?
We have lots of training opportunities, just depending on the needs of the operation. So we have everything from general introduction classes that we provide to users who are just becoming familiar with the software. We also have implementation services where if a site is running something like ore control or they have a complex drill and blast system, we can come into their operation, understand what their needs are, put together a workflow that's specific to them, and then train them on that specific workflow. And then we have things in between. So we have beginner, intermediate, and advanced courses that users can sign up to take on courses, everything from managing their blast holes or drill holes to advanced modeling types of courses. So.
Over the years, MineSight has obviously evolved. Hexagon Mining is all about integration. What's the future for MineSight and MineSight 3D with that integration in mind?
Oh, that's a good question. So there's lots of ideas that we have, and some things right now that we're actually putting into action. So, for example, one of the things we're looking at with MineSight 3D is building a mind map. What mind map does is it allows us to visualize our planning data and then also visualize the information from the fleet management system from Jigsaw. So we can do all of that directly in one system, and that solves, it sounds simple, but it actually solves a lot of problems. For example, haul routes. The guys in the operations are using a haul route, and in mine planning we're using the same routes.
Right.
So that's a huge time sink for people in the past, or with other applications where you have to export and import that information. You might have two different versions of the routes in two different applications. Also, the same thing with blast holes, with targeting polygons. All that information we're consolidating into MineSight 3D. We call the project Mind Map, and it's going to allow the planning and the operations to have access to the same information. So, in essence, one version of the truth.
Seth, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Nev.
We'd like to thank our guest, Seth Gering, for joining us today. If you'd like to learn more about MineSight and MineSight 3D mine planning solutions, visit hexagonmining.com. And to watch additional episodes of HXGN TV, visit hxgntv.com. Thanks for watching.